Hello everybody, welcome to the artclass.com. This video is part of the Patreon critique and paint over. So my Patreon at all level 1 to level 5, if you post your artwork, I'm just gonna randomly select them and make a paint over. In this one, it has a really nice drawing, but it's still not quite yet getting the light and shadow there. As a drawing is really good, but drawing and painting is totally different beast. So there are certain spots that you do not need to add a lot of detail, certain like in the shadow area. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to identify plane and identify the value, doing the material study. So it's going to be really quick, 20 minutes paint over. So it's not going to be anything super duper beautiful, but it's just going to get right to the point and how you can improve your painting or transition your drawing to painting, because those are two different things. Drawing, you can add a lot of detail and it can be flat, it's fine. If you're not rendering, this is a good drawing. Nice, very nice drawing, but it's not a painting. So and also don't forget to catch me live from Monday, Wednesday, Friday at noon or 12 p.m. Pacific time zone. I usually go live about 30 minutes to 45 minutes, and at night I'll do Tuesday and Thursday at 9 p.m. For about the same amount of time, 30 minutes to 45 minutes, 9 p.m. Pacific time zone or Pacific Standard Time. All right, put them on your schedule. And if you are a subscriber, don't forget to click on the bell ring, on the bell icon right below right next to the subscribe button. So every time I go live, you get identified. It's kind of like Twitch, but not really. All right, and Patreon paid my patrons, or on the Patreon this month, you get a bunch of these tutorials. Just go there and check it out. There. Okay. All right, and you can, all the information and the link are down below the video, and you can click on the top right corner of the video to get all the information, and you can also take my class and all that. All right, let's get started. Welcome to the Patreon paint over session. So in this session, I'm just gonna randomly pick some of the Patreon that post on the community section on my Patreon. So this one, a very nice drawing, but the lighting is not quite there. It's a lot of good detail. The difference between drawing and painting is that in painting, or certain school of painting, or at least the school of painting that I follow, basically Johnson Sargent, we focus pretty much on light and shadow, and that's the people that I kind of follow, like Frank Fasada or John Singer Sargent, Anderson. So I see that you first put the lighting this way, but I think if you have your light coming from this way, it doesn't. If the light is coming from here, that's probably not gonna make it look as interesting, because you're gonna see mostly the feather. But I would assume that you want to focus on the face, so I will switch the light from, well, default light is basically top front a little bit off to the left or right, but I will switch it to the left side of the screen a little bit so you can see a little bit of the face. So instead of coming from this way directly hitting here, it will hit here instead and go shadow, shadow, shadow. So just kind of go as whatever the balls that you have, the sphere that you have over here. Anyway, so first, right off the bat, there's not a lot of, the lighting is, I'm not sure if you have any light and shadow over here. I see a lot of texture. Well, this is more like a very soft rendering, or that's not a lot of contrast going on. It's super light. What I would do is basically, you have to identify the plane, right? So the light come and hit over here. It will be, this might be a bit too far. I'll move it in a little bit, or you can have it out. That's, I think it doesn't really matter. So the light will be around here. So that means that will be the shadow cut off there. So you have to break everything down into planes. So if you break the plane, you see this, right? and each plane, this means that's already going to be darker. It's going to be light. It's a little bit of kind of curve, so don't think of it as flat. So if you have a little bit of the curved surface, then most likely the highlight's going to be here. So that's just on the helmet alone. And then in here you're going to have this, which facing a different direction than the top plane of the nose, which will be this way. This will be this way. So that's already going to have an impact on the value here. And then you have another face here which is facing down. And then you're going to have this. Well, I'm just going to simplify this. Face here, which we're facing this way. Well, if you really count it, you're going to have another one here that kind of facing down, and then this one here facing the same way as the nose. So once you break it down like that, it's going to be a lot easier. I'm not sure I'm going to have the time to do the whole face, but I'm just going to do the helmet first for the example, because this is going to be about 20 minutes video, and then I'm going to move on to the other ones. So this will be dark, and then this will be a bit lighter, 2 value, and then this will be, the lightest part will be here, and this will be a bit lighter there. Be consistent, and that I would give it about the same value as here on this side, same as the helmet. Well, if you counting on the top, you're gonna have to break down the plane a bit more, right? This, if the light hit here the strongest, that means this will have to get slightly darker. Depends on which plane you select to be the lightest one. If you select that to be the lightest one, then this has to be darker than that. So it's have to be consistent. But I'm gonna pick this plane to be the one that get the most impact by the light. So I'm gonna do the leather. So this is what I'm explaining. It's not how I usually paint it. It's just how what happened in my head when I'm painting. So this is going to be slightly lighter. That's going to get a bit darker. As I say, is as it goes, we'll paint on the wrong layer. Okay, let me move here. This is going to be dark. Let's pick saturate. Put it here. So let's do it here. Oh, is that dark enough? Maybe a little bit more. Then we're going to move it up a bit. Desaturate. Then we're going to move it up a bit. Desaturate. And move it toward the cool. So when you usually shadow will get warmer, light will get cooler. That's by default. There are some cases that might be different, but in general it will be. So on top here will get darker too, because this will be the lighter one, right? So this should get darker. Depends on the plane. And then that could get about that size. And then this could get there, and this could get really light. And then on the goal, just gonna pick that dark, go a bit lighter, cooler. Lift that up. See what I mean? Now you have the area that you can play with light and shadow. And has to, all the shadow has to be consistent, or basically kind of connect. And since if the object is really round, then your edge is going to be soft. If the object have a harsh or angle, then your edge is going to be hard. Round it up. I could use a texture brush to help making the edge a little more interesting. But overall here, shadow has to connect, and this basically will be similar to that one. This will be similar to that one. Painting by numbers, basically. Identifying the plane, and then you can do the estimation, or you can pretty much calculate how much value should you apply to those. So this will be the highest point, or the point that got impacted the most by the highlight. And remember, it's round, right? So let me make some transition. A little rounder. And this side will be on the shadow side. That should be a little thinner since it's going to the perspective. That has to be thinner. And then this facing down the edge, I'm going to make it slightly darker. Have some thickness there. Then that will probably get slightly a bit lighter, not that much, because it's still facing down. And this probably go tuck into the hair or something. Just get thinner as it goes out. Alright, so now after I have all the values sort of sorted out, and this will have another edge which not really facing the light, it's facing the sideways, so it's gonna be slightly darker. And on the corner edge of metal, usually it has like a really crisp or lighter value. And you're gonna have occlusion shadow in between, so that's gonna create a dark line in between the gold pieces and the leather, but it's gonna be really subtle. Now, once you have, like I said, you have your value figured out, we're just gonna start applying material. So here, I go really light and try to make it so that it shown the specular level. So because metal will have a high specular level than leather, so I'm trying to make this look super shiny here, and as it goes out it will be darker. It's gonna take a while to get things to look exactly right, and go higher again. I'm going to use lineage dot to help. There we go. And turn it back. This is going to make it slightly darker. Because that would be the core shadow. Bring this in a bit. Because the shadow has to line up. here. Alright, so now it looks metallic enough, I think. And then on top edge is probably hit, the light probably hit the corner. Usually if you notice a lot of metallic object, they get a lot of highlight in the corner, because that's where the sharp point on the sharp edge are. Now I'm gonna do some leather material. Leather doesn't have much or as strong of a highlight as metal, so you're gonna have a little bit there. Too much, just enough to show that it has some form, something. You can keep. So the material is not about texture, it's about the range of value also, or more so. Texture is just enhance the material, but the real trick to make a good looking material is to put the right value on it, and correct amount of value there. And see, I'm just using texture brush to give it some grime and some the look of leathery look, but I try to maintain the value. Now the gold, same as the metal in the front, just going to concentrate around this area because that's where the light is going to be concentrated on. There. And I'm going to use the linear starch a bit, 30%. And then you can paint the rest of the detail on top of it again. But first you got to figure out the light, and then material, and then and so on. Alright, I think that should be good. And now I can apply some texture on it. This should go right in the middle, so it should be a little bit more forward. That should be slightly lighter on the corner here. Maybe a little too thick there. I'm gonna bring the leather in a bit. And occlusion shadow. There. And now just clean them up and try to match them as good as you can. See what I mean? And then now you can add whatever coins or something, or what is that? Is that also part of the gold? Maybe. Let's add another layer. We still have a bit of time, so like I said, this is going to be a very short lesson. And if you want a paint over or a critique, I just go to my Patreon, right click on the top right, click on the top right corner of this video, or just go down below and there'll be a link. So, and then post your artwork, and then you will get, every week I'll randomly pick them. And then you have another one here. And all the shadow has to line up. And then you alright, I hope this is helpful. I didn't have enough time to go over all the face, but basically the face is just gonna be, that's gonna be shadow for sure, this is gonna be shadow for sure, that's gonna be shadow for sure. Just, you know, break it down into planes. Then the beard and everything else, that will be another section. I mean, you're gonna have to do the material for those also, paint. And then here's gonna be more shadow. Everything's about light and shadow. It's a nice drawing. I mean, as a drawing, it looks good, but as a painting, you're gonna need more. And shadow connected there, and maybe occlusion shadow. Then beard here, then you might have another like cheekbones here, and this might get lighter. This will face there if you want more. That's a cheekbone part. So I'm not gonna go in much into the face, but that's the idea basically. And this might be a bit there a little bit, might be too bright, but oh well. Make sense? I hope this is helpful somehow. And all right, well, have the good rest of the day, and I will see you on Monday at live stream on Monday. Will be at 12 p.m. Sorry, noon. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and 9 p.m. At night. And all these are Pacific Standard Time or PST. All right, have a good rest of the weekend. I might do live stream on the weekend. I don't know. Depends on my mood. Sometimes I go just randomly. Okay, bye bye. All right, I decided let's do a little bit more. I'm gonna identify the big plane for the shadow here. There should be some shadow there, since it's facing backward, and a bit shadow here. And then this will be the light, bit lighter. That's supposed to be quite a bit darker there since it's facing up. So try to identify the plane. Which plane are you facing? In this, I wouldn't paint white, anything white, just kind of make it mid gray or light gray. So you save white for the lightest spot, like the highlight of the metal or something. Right, identify the plane. This a little bit darker, then light, 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 dark. Alright, I hope that makes sense. These are not like done by any means, just the big plane that should be that's how you should arrange your value there. Alright guys, well, have a good rest of the day, and sometime I can't stop. Yeah, I will see you on the live stream. Stop by. Usually fun. Alright.